I was going to move it up anyway.
It is 5 p.m. We are going to recess our 4 p.m. special board meeting to open the 5 p.m. meeting. A regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District will be held Monday, December the 12th, 2022, beginning at 5 p.m. at the Dr. Ricardo Chapa Boardroom of the Administration Building in the McAllen Independent School District offices at 2000 North 23rd Street, McAllen, Texas 78501. Items listed on this agenda may be taken in an order other than shown as on this agenda. Unless removed from the consent agenda, items identified within the consent agenda will be acted on at one time. So at 5 o'clock, we are open in our regular scheduled 5 p.m. meeting, and we will recess that to return to our 4 p.m. special board meeting. At 5 o'clock, we are recessed from our meeting. Yeah, Mr. Zamaron and administration. Louis, are we ready to open?
5, 4, 3.
It is 5:14. We are resuming the open portion of our Level 3 grievance hearing for Mr. Hugo Zamaron. Board, what say ye?
I'd like to make a motion to uphold level 2.
We have a motion to uphold the Level 2 grievance. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
The ayes carry it 4-2. The Level 2 grievance will be upheld. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So move.
At 5:14, we have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? We have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
At 5:14, this meeting is adjourned. At 5:15, we will reopen our 5 PM meeting. We'll start with the invocation. And for that, I will ask Trustee Alvarado to please lead us in our invocation.
All right, sir. Just gonna give a few more minutes as we have some people walking in. All right, please join me in the prayer, please. Almighty God, we come together for the good of our children in our schools. Give us wisdom as we make decisions that will affect them today and in years to come. Help us work well together, recognize that each of us, parents, educators, and community representatives, are here because we love children and we want what is best for them. We ask for your blessings and your guidance. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Trustee Suarez, will you lead us in our pledge?
Yes, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, all. We move on to item number 4, the public comments. We have 3 speakers that will be addressing us today. Each speaker will have 2 minutes. Once again, the board is not allowed to interact with our speakers. Let me go through the official. Persons wanting to make a statement to the board are required to register with the superintendent secretary 1 hour prior to the start of the scheduled meeting. Audience participation at a board meeting is limited to the early stages of a meeting. At all other times during a board meeting, the audience shall not enter into discussion or debate on matters being considered by the board unless requested. Each participant is limited to 2 minutes per meeting to make comments to the board. At regular board meetings, the board shall permit public comments regardless of whether the topic is an item on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. At all other board meetings, public comment shall be limited to only items on the agenda posted with the notice of the meeting. The board shall not deliberate or decide regarding any subject that is not included on the agenda with notice of the meeting. If an issue mentioned is on tonight's agenda, the board will defer discussion of the issue until the appropriate time during the meeting. Should the speaker drift from the stated subject or become disruptive or abusive, he or she shall be given 1 warning. If a second warning is required, then the speaker may forfeit the remaining time allotment. The board shall not tolerate disruption of the meeting by members of the audience. The board has adopted complaint policies that are designed to secure, at the lowest administrative level, a prompt and equitable resolution of complaints and concerns. Please refer to the following policies. For student and/or parent complaints, that's policy FNG. For employees, that's policy DGBA. And for citizens, that's policy GF. Copies of district policies are available on our McAllen ISD website at McAllenISD.org. Our first speaker of the day is April Lopez, and she's here to talk about the MAC Stepper program. April Lopez. Last call for April Lopez. Moving on to our second speaker, Manuel Pescador, who is here to talk about current events. Good afternoon, Mr. Pescador.
Good afternoon. So the current event is that, in my opinion, and my policy is you all should reply to emails and maybe go walk around the schools. I had access to teenagers at 11:20 p.m. at a high school when they're holding their dance. Nobody stopped me. Nobody asked me anything. 11:20. 2 officers for a homecoming dance. And then nobody replies. Nobody answers. Unless I put you guys on TikTok or YouTube, no pasa nada. So every time you said shall, you shall go to the schools, you shall go walk. Do not tell them who you are. Send your mom, your aunt, your cousin. Send somebody. Send a nobody like me so you can see what really is going on.
1 minute.
Okay? So that's what you shall do. More policies is just going to be that you guys don't want to hear about it. When I hear new policies, I hear, I got to be more active here. That's what I heard. And then you said shall, like you're the supreme being. Sir, this is a democracy. We're not in Russia. Don't make policies to oppress me.
30
or
seconds.
to oppress others. So I shall be looking into you, Mr. Forina, because you refuse to answer my emails. And I shall do that. And I shall use my First Amendment to do this every time I can. Do not be a coward.
10 seconds.
Please, do not be a coward.
Thank you, Mr. Pescador. Next up, we have Abel Gutierrez that is here to talk about aquatics support. Good afternoon, Mr. Gutierrez. Thanks for joining us today.
Good evening. My name is Abel Gutierrez. I am a Memorial High School class of 2015 graduate. Today I'm continuing my education at UTRGV and running a local swim club. If you haven't heard of my team, we are RGVA McAllen. We currently rent the Nicky Rowe facility pool, and we very appreciate the opportunity to use that facility. I am here today to speak on behalf of the swimming community. I'm not here to criticize anybody's job or anybody's ability to do it. Today I would like to discuss the opportunities available for clubs and the current situation in regards to pool space. Before I inform you of some situations, I would like you to consider this. In 2022 at the district meet, between the top three boys and girls, 88% of those individuals swam club during or before the summer. Top 6 was 59%. As far as I recognize the names, there could be some individuals there whose names I don't recognize, and maybe they swim club with their local facility. With that said, I would appreciate if you would consider acknowledging that clubs are a piece of success for local swimmers.
1 minute.
My first point of concern is that between August 30th and October 21st, I showed athletics and aquatics how RGVA had more athletes in the pool compared to the other club that we shared the facility with, between 33 of 49 sessions, with 3 ties on those, the other 16, with about 5 more people per practice. I would respectfully ask if a simple rule of bigger roster and proof of need being enough to give additional lanes, as we have requested an additional 5th lane and not been approved yet.
30 seconds.
Competitions and practice on Saturdays are nearly impossible for me to schedule because we have to wait for our high schools to never have practice on a Saturday. I would appreciate if we could provide this so that the city can get funds from local out-of-town families to spend some money in the city of McAllen. Although my team is not part of McAllen Aquatics today, I know that my athletes, all
10
the way
seconds.
from 5th grade and under, will be part of your team one day when they represent the district, regional, and state level, so I ask for your support now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Gutierrez.
President Forina, I'll make a motion to move on the agenda, item 11A, approval monetary donation for the pharmacy technician program for McAllen Medical Center Foundation.
Second.
I appreciate the motion and the second. If I can just make one last call for our public speaker that did not answer the call earlier. Last call for April Lopez. Last call for April Lopez. No April Lopez. Thank you. We have a motion and a second on the floor to amend the agenda. What say ye, board? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 6-1. So we will bring forth item 11A, approval of the monetary donation for the pharmacy technician program from McAllen Medical Center Foundation. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. We're very excited about this one, and I see we have our CEO from South Texas Health Systems, Mr. Todd Mann. Sir, welcome. Thank you for being here. The McAllen Medical Center Foundation approved a grant for the district's pharmacy technician program in the amount of $10,000. We appreciate that greatly, and we are requesting action on this item.
So moved.
We have a motion by trustee Suarez, a second by trustee Aliceta. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 7-0. Thank you, Mr. Saldivar. Yes, ma'am. We will definitely bring Mr. Mann up and do a photo if that's okay.
Right here. I have it.
Thank you, sir. Well, let's get you next to Mr. Mann there. All guys.
Very tall.
Juan, we didn't interrupt you, did we? No. All right. We want to hold the check? No. We'll be all right. Iris, can we hold the check?
No, we need to catch it.
Oh, okay.
No, I said if you wanted to hold it for the picture.
Let's take some after permission.
All right, big smiles, everyone. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Very good. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. We rejoin our agenda already in progress. We will recess to closed session. The Board of Trustees may go into closed session pursuant to Section 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, 551.076, and 551.089 of the Texas Government Code to discuss the following. 5A, discussion of human resource recommendations for 2022-2023. 5B, discussion of human resource employee resignations for school year 2022-2023. 5C, discussion regarding school safety and security. 5D, pending and/or potential litigation. And 5E, possible real estate acquisition. At 5:26, this board is in closed session.
Can we go to Dr. Gonzalez's office?
Well,
Oh, Sam's on.
yeah. Sorry, guys. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you back. We will reconvene in open session. For the record, there was no action taken while we were in closed session. It is now 6:00. We will move on to item 7A, discussion and possible action of human resource recommendations for school year 2022-2023. Human Resources is submitting a list of recommendations under separate cover for discussion during closed comment, and administration is recommending action on this.
Move to approve.
We have a motion by trustee Suarez and a second by trustee Peña. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it, 6-0. Thank you, trustee Saldívar. Discussion of human resources employment resignations for school year 2022-2023 is item 7D. That too is submitting a list of resignations under separate cover, and it's for information purposes only. Item 7C, the discussion regarding school safety and security. Thank you to Chief Silva for that. Item 7D, pending and/or potential litigation. Mr. Saldana, any pending or potential litigation?
None, Mr. President.
Item 7E, possible real estate acquisition.
None, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, sir. Item 8, the superintendent report. McAllen ISD students shine at the Holiday Parade 2022. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. We're very, very proud of this one. On December 3rd, we had more than 500 students participate in the annual McAllen Holiday Parade, and this is a beautiful partnership we have with the city of McAllen, and it gives us a chance to showcase our students, and that makes us very proud. There was a ton of community members out. It was a wonderful event, and we have a short video that highlights the event.
Grab your coat, it's getting cold. Just look at the falling snow. There's season's greetings, happy meetings, oh, and a little bit of mistletoe. They're decorating the Christmas tree with a star up top for you and me. Can you hear the sleigh bells? It's Christmas time. It's Christmas time. Way up north, they're making toys for every little girl and boy who mailed in letters, 'cause they've been better, so much better than the year before. Santa's crossing off every wish, even moms and dads have made the list. Can you hear the sleigh bells? It's Christmas time. And oh, can we give it one more time? Merry Christmas!
This is my report. Was that you?
No, sir, that was not me. Might I add, it was great to see our fourth grade chorale open the parade, performing with the opening act that they had there, and then seeing our steppers, our tiaras, and our prancers. Thank you for the help. Seeing them out there as well, and of course, with all of our marching bands that went through there, it's great to see our stadium used like that, and it's great to see our students that are the key focus of that. So thank you, Ms. Thomas, and thank your staff for all the hard work and efforts that they do. All right, we are going to move to item 12 because that is the next agenda. We have no recognitions, proclamations. The donation was already taken care of. So our board reports, we'll start with our instructional services briefing. The chair is Sofia Merced Peña.
Thank you for that great pronunciation of my name. We discussed the possible action on a request for proposal for career and technology materials, supplies, equipment, and related services. Possible in action on an interlocal agreement with Region 1 for school system cooperative services. Possible action on a request for library books, ebooks, textbooks, audiovisual materials, and other instructional reading materials. Discussion and possible action on career and technology education courses for the 23-24 school year. And possible action on an agreement for the pharmacy technician experiential learning program with Walgreens. And that is our report.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Item 12A2, the human resource briefing. The chair is trustee Daniel Vela.
Thank you, Mr. President.
If you'll speak into your mic, sir.
Wow. Three items this evening that are for HR discussion are, number one is possible action on HR recommendations, discussion of employee resignations, and then discussion and possible action on the school year 22-23 list of certified Texas evaluations T-test appraisers. We're adding one AP, and it will be discussed in the item presented this evening. Thank you, Mr. President. That is my report.
Thank you, Trustee Saldívar. Trustee Vela. Item 12A3, the district operations briefing. Filling in for Conrado Alvarado is Trustee Sam Saldívar.
Thank you, Mr. President. On Friday, December the 9th, at approximately 8:15, we had a video conference with Ms. Gonzalez, regarding 5 items that are on the agenda today. And in addition to that, we talked about 3 other items. Item number 11 on the agenda, donation on the pharmaceutical technology, which we just approved. 12B1, which is report regarding FMO. 12B1. 12B2 is report regarding student enrollment and transfers, which we're going to be hearing in a little bit. And then under the consent agenda, 13D, D's and David, final payment regarding earthworks, enterprises, paving improvements throughout the district. And then 14C will be the possible guarantee, action on the board regarding a guaranteed maximum price for the UTRGV MISD Collegiate High School construction, which we'll hear about that in a little bit. In addition to that, we talked about 3 items, which included the Bottom Elementary School sale, the MISD possible issuance of work boots and for cold storage warehouse employees, and the status on the old Roosevelt down at downtown campus, the sale of that property. And that concludes our report, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Saldívar. Item 12A4, the business operations briefing. Chair is Trustee Debbie Crane Aliceda.
Yes, thank you. We met on Friday with our CFO, Iris Luna, and we discussed the taxes collected in October of 2022. We discussed our monthly financial report, the investment report, budget amendments, and those were the reports. Thank you so much.
And Trustee Aliceda, if you'll handle 12A5, the board officer briefing as well.
Yes, we met, Secretary Suarez and myself met with Dr. Gonzalez on Wednesday and discussed the agenda and rearranged some things so it flowed a little bit better, and that's my report.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 12B1, the report regarding facilities, maintenance, and operations. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. This is a monthly report from the FMO department. We have Mr. Ruben Trevino, our executive director for FMO, who will guide us through this month's projects, and this item is for information purposes only. Mr. Trevino, welcome.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Gonzalez. I'll be presenting on the ongoing projects and completed projects for our district for the month of December. On our first slide, we have the McAllen High School football practice field, new synthetic turf and track installation. As we all know, that project has been ongoing. The turf portion of it was completed last week, and we are now just finishing up on doing some of the walkthroughs, and they will be installing the last pour-on surface for the track, the lanes, and our field events, and that's happening this week. This slide here is the Lamar HVAC upgrades at Lamar Academy and Rowe High School. And this picture here is the chiller building that we're using, that we're building over behind Rowe High School. As of this morning, we had cooling towers delivered, set in place already, and we do have the chillers already set in place inside the building as well. And that project is ongoing, as well as Lamar. They're both on time and on schedule. We have completed projects for high schools, which is baseball and softball fields. 6 fields have all been completed on time, on schedule, in budget, and they've all been walked, and they are taking care of small minor items on the punch list, and all being used as well. We also have the black box theaters and mariachi for Memorial, McAllen High School, and Rowe High School. We'll be bringing a guaranteed maximum price on those projects for recommendation in January this coming year. We also have the Memorial High School chiller already on schedule and ordered. We have the McAllen ISD UTRGV Collegiate Academy, which is the picture that you see here, that will be discussed later in the meeting on our agenda. We also have the McAllen High School practice field sports lighting, which is an LED light system that we've got out to bid right now. We'll be receiving bids on Friday of this week, and we'll be bringing that in the first meeting in January. We also have the Travis Middle School roof upgrade, which a contractor will be mobilizing this week to start the roofing project as materials are arriving. We have the surveillance camera upgrades that are ongoing at De Leon and Morris Middle School, And we also have chiller replacements that will be ongoing at Fossum and Morris Middle Schools. These are some of our ongoing projects as well at our middle schools. We have cafeteria kitchen upgrades, Brown Middle School and De Leon Middle School. These are pictures of both. They're ongoing currently, on time and on budget at both construction sites. We also have ongoing projects at the elementary schools, which is Jackson and Gonzalez, as you see here. These are pictures of both of the school areas that are in construction and are also on schedule and on budget. We also have chiller replacements at the following schools: Fields, Castañeda, Wilson, Hendricks, Perez, Sanchez, and Milam. And these pictures that you see here are the roof replacements at both Houston Elementary and Roosevelt Elementary School, which are currently ongoing right now. These are two completed projects, which is the Wilson and Seguin Elementary front entrance modifications. We've modified the entrance and it's complete now to Wilson, and we've also moved up the security doors at Seguin Elementary and created an additional reception window within the safety vestibule, and are now fully completed, fully functional at both campuses. We have cafeteria expansions or modifications. Plans and specs are ready. We've met with the design team. These are ready to go. We're working together with purchasing department so that we can put this out to bid the first week when we get back in January. And these are going to be Garza, Wilson, Rayburn, and Roosevelt. And this is the second set of kitchens that we're entering right now. We also had, throughout the district, another front security entrance remodel that is going on at our staff development building. We also have the McAllen's Veterans Memorial Stadium press box that is ongoing. Structural columns are going up as we speak, and the elevator shaft is now almost fully complete. We have the Crockett Fire Alarm project that is about to be completed, and safety fencing upgrades continue district-wide. We also have some upcoming projects, which is a Crockett roof replacement, which plans and specs are ready to go, and those will be put out to bid in the first week of January. The Navarro chiller replacement, which has been ordered, and the bilingual department remodel, which will be commencing here during the holidays. And like every December, happy holidays to all of you, and from FMO, the whole department, warehouse, CMP warehouse, we thank you for your continued support, and that concludes my report.
Any questions for Mr. Trevino and our FMNO report? Trustee Saldivar, thumbs up.
If I may, Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
I don't have any questions. I did want to commend Mr. Trevino. Thank you, sir, for your hard work. I know we got a lot of projects going on, so I appreciate the energy you're putting in along with the department, Ms. Gonzalez, and everybody in district operations. You guys are doing a tremendous job, so just wanted to extend our gratitude.
Thank you.
Always appreciative. Sam, did you have a comment?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
And thank you, Trustee Sena, for catching me. Mr. Trevino, on the HVAC, which is heating, ventilation, air conditioning, you mentioned the chillers. What are the other components in order to ensure that the campus is kept cool?
We've got the chillers and the air handlers. The air handlers are what we call our inside units, and then we've got our sequencing and controls. In some campuses, we do have rooftop HVAC units. We have split systems. So not in all cases, we're just replacing chillers to climatize our rooms and create that ambient temperature. But whenever the case comes, we tackle chillers first because we have them on a replacement schedule. As we started that replacement schedule 7 years ago, we still stuck to it, and we're replacing them based on a 20-year life cycle. So in some instances, we will have to replace air handlers, rooftop units, or split systems, not only the chiller itself.
Gotcha. That's exactly what I wanted to know. When we, in conversations I was both, they think that we're doing all the systems regarding the air movement of a campus, and we're not. We're following a replacement schedule, as you pointed out, on the chillers at this point.
That is correct.
And any issues with air handlers and controls, that's on a case-by-case maintenance schedule. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Trevino, for your report. Excellent work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Trustee Aliceda.
you or for Ms. Gonzalez, the funding for Crockett Roof, is that already budgeted? Where's that coming from?
The funding for the Crockett roof is still the savings that we achieved from the last couple of roofs that we did with the hail damage fund. And the other part is some of the savings that we have from the maintenance tax note. And it's a combined account.
How many people are still housed at Crockett? Or how many departments are there?
Currently at Crockett, we have, I think Dr. De Hoyos would be a better, could answer that better.
Good over 12 departments.
Still there at Crockett?
Oh, it's completely full. Every room is being utilized.
No, that's okay. All right, thank you.
Actually, I'm gonna add something to that, because I think we might be thinking alike. In the design, is there gonna be like aesthetically something different?
Not at this time. This is only a roof recover. And we've got this, we've got it lined up to where we have our base bid, which is one or two of the buildings that have the most issues with the roof currently. And then we have the alternate bids to see if our budget will allow to do additional buildings or not.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Trevino.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 12B2, the report regarding student enrollment and transfers. Sit back, ladies and gentlemen, and grab your popcorn. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. We have Mrs. Lisa Cavazos, our Director for Strategic Partnerships and Student Outreach, who will present our enrollment report update and an overview of the year-to-date trends. And I do want to commend Ms. Cavazos and the entire team for their hard work and dedication to our district, because we're seeing a tremendous return on our investment with regard to this department, as it is a new department in our district. It's been in place for how many years, Alisa?
3 years.
3 years now. Looking forward to hearing from your report.
Awesome. Haven't even started yet.
The anticipation is killing us.
So exciting, my goodness. Okay, good evening, President Fortina, Dr. Gonzalez, and Board of Trustees. As always, super blessed and excited to be with you guys today. Today I am presenting our recruitment progress to goals. So just as the introduction stated, we'll be talking about recruitment efforts, recapture efforts. We'll also be talking about students that we're missing in the district and what we're doing about that as well. Go ahead. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about our enrollment story over the last 7 months. So essentially, we're going to be looking at numbers that represent where we ended the year. So last day of school back in May of 2022, we were at 20,470 students. If you click it one more time. When we look now at the number of registrations that we had as of August 23rd, we were down more or less about 49 kids. We do a tremendous job at re-registration efforts. That's a huge effort on behalf of the student operations team, campus teams, and of course our team supporting as well. By the time we hit the first day of school, though, if you'll click it one more time, we've got lots of annoying animation, I'm sorry. Our first day of school enrollment was 19,312, roughly 1,100 students under our registration number. But for context, we started the year just over 1,000 students higher than we did last year, right? So we were very excited about that. And then fast forward now to the time of this report, and we're up to 20,446. We are, at this point, about 44 students off from where we were this time last year. Now, I will say that this report, the data for this report and the slides for this report were due several days ago. So I'm excited to update that number with a current enrollment of 20,485 students, which puts us roughly about 70 students off from where we were this time last year. Now, if we were exactly 1 year ago today, right, if we were looking at those numbers, this time last year we were sitting at 1,019 under where we were the previous year. So I'm really excited about what we're doing to close those gaps. Alrighty, so we're going to look at a few things. The first thing we're going to look at is the recruitment and recapture efforts since the first day of school. So these are students that have come in to McAllen ISD who have registered and enrolled into one of our schools since the first day. So we're not talking about kids that just showed up on the first day, were supposed to be here, came on time. We're talking about people that did not show up and that have contributed to the growth since the first day of school. We're also going to look at the withdrawals since the first day of school. So again, these are kids that showed up for at least a day of enrollment and then chose to leave us for one reason or another, and then that net change. Alrighty, so first, recruitment and recapture. Go ahead. That number is 2,033 as of the time of this report. I'm also super excited to share that since these slides have been made available to you guys, that number has grown by 155 students. So we're sitting at 2,184 recruitment and recapture, again, since the first day of school. Alrighty, so where, or when, I should say, have those kids come to us? If you'll click on the animation there, it'll all pop up one more time. First, we have current year numbers. So we have 866 entries in August, 507 in September, 398 in October, and 262 this past month. So far in December, in the first 12 days of the month, we've had 164 students come in, which is roughly 62% of the total month of November, and again, those first 12 days. So we anticipate every year to see that dip as the fall kind of goes on into November, and then another spike in December as families make the transition during that logical kind of break in the year. It's a new entry point for, it's like the second chance at a first day of school. If you click it again, you can see where we were this time last year. So we had a lot more students coming in August as we were making our way back to traditional school. A lot more students in September, October, and November. We're still able to compete, so to speak, with last year because we started so much higher. We had a better showing on day one than we did last year. And then one more time, we'll show you where we were this time in 2020. Alrighty, so this slide is telling you who came in, right? So if we look at those numbers, we see that pre-K is a huge contributor to that 2,033 number, followed by 9th grade, 10th grade. So these are kind of the highest grade levels when we look at the kids that come in after the first day of school. Pre-K has been and continues to be really a focus point for recruitment. We still believe that if we can get kiddos in at the very front of that pipeline, they will fall in love with our district and persist for the long run. And so those efforts continue to be strong, and partnerships with our Head Start program, our community partners as well with the daycare centers have helped that number as well. So that is where they land in terms of grade level. Now if we look at campuses, so if you give me that animation, you'll see campuses and the enrollment since the first day of school, those new students, by month. So that first yellow bar is August, second green is September, October in blue, and then November in purple. So as you can see, again, big push in August as we know that kids were supposed to show up because they were registered for school. We were expecting them to come, and then lots and lots of effort to make sure that they get connected quickly, right? September is the same story. October and November starts to be a little bit more difficult, right? So those are really recapture efforts, getting kids back in from private schools, from home schools, from charter schools, from other places. When now maybe a grading period has passed, maybe they're not so happy where they're at. In some cases, unfortunately, connecting with school for the first time. There is a goal on our team to make sure that every elementary school is at least 400 students enrolled. We started the year with 5 schools under 400 students. We are now at in a combined 189 kids that it would have taken to get us to every school having 400, right? We currently only have 2 schools that are under 400 students and a combination of 35 kiddos that would get us there. So again, at the time of these slides, today we're 30 students. We've closed that gap by 5 in the last week and a half or so. Same data now for middle school. So we see that August, September, October, November breakdown for each of our middle schools. Really same story, right? So late registrations and transfer approvals, just recapture efforts very early on in the year attribute for those, or can be attributed to those higher bands early in the year. And then again, that recapture effort and kiddos making their way back to us later on. Next time you see these slides, you'll be able to see December and that spike that I'm talking about. Again, same data here for high school. And then we can move on to the next slide. So now I'm going to talk to you guys about withdrawals since the first day of school. If you click that number again, 559 kids is the number of students who have shown up for school at least one day enrolled with McAllen ISD. In most cases, a little longer than that. a lot longer than that, that have made the choice to leave us, right? So these are, again, not kids that we were expecting and then they didn't show up. They're not the no-shows. These are kids that were with us at some point for some duration of time during the school year and then have made the decision to leave. That number, I updated with the good news, I've got to update with the bad news too, is now sitting at 636 students. So we're up about 77 additional withdrawals since the time that this data was pulled, but I'll remind you that we're up 151 new entries. So we're still trending about 2 new entries for every student who leaves. Doesn't make it okay, just providing that information for context. So where are these kids leaving from? So this is the grade level breakdown, and you'll see that year-over-year comparison. So green is this current year, that black color is last year, and yellow is the 2021 school year. So we are sitting at 550, that should say 9 year to date. Last year we were right at 461, year before that 483. You can see that breakdown. Pre-K, super high. These are kiddos who are our youngest children, right? So in many cases, parents decide that their 4-year-old isn't quite ready for school yet, right? It breaks our heart because we know that a pre-K education is the best predictor for success in kindergarten and so on and so forth, really setting the stage. We do our best to get those kiddos back in the second semester, right? Just a little bit older, a little bit more prepared. And then 9th grade, where we see a big drop off too. These numbers are interesting, and I've talked about this before because some of that drop off in 9th grade is actually due to kids becoming 10th graders, right? So they stop being 9th graders, they withdraw, and they enroll. They've got that credit recovery happening for them. But we also lose 9th graders to programs that are at neighboring places, right, that start in 9th grade as well. So if we look at those, if we look at those stars, that shows us where we are trending better than this time last year. So what we want to see are those green bars shrinking lower, of course, than the previous 2, because that'll tell us that we're losing less in that grade level. Now we see them by campus. So now we look at by grade level and the campuses. They're organized by the campus that has lost the most kids to the campus that has lost the least kids. We can see in 3rd and 4th place, Alvarez and Thigpen Zavala with a big, huge pre-K number. I will note that those 2 campuses are Head Start sites, and so they have a huge number of pre-K students, right? So just by numbers alone, you know, it's their largest population of kiddos in any single grade level, so it makes sense that it would be the most turnover there just by numbers game. Escandon is our other Head Start site as well, so you can see that by grade level there. Same data for middle school, so you can see 6th, 7th, and 8th grade across each of those. And those bars are kind of deceiving. I will call your attention to the actual scale. The highest number on that scale is 20, so we're talking about very subtle differences between campuses, but that does give you an idea across 6th, 7th, and 8th grade for our middle schools. And then same data for our high schools as well. So why are kids leaving us? This is also year-over-year comparison data. So that purple is going to tell you what was going on last year, and the blue is going to tell you what's happening this year. So one of the reasons is for enrollment in another Texas public school. Now that can mean anywhere, right? That can mean in Dallas, and it can be in Weslaco, it can be in Houston, it can be in Harlingen, it can be really anywhere. We are down that number from where we were last year. So last year we had 224 leavers at this time. This year we're at 166. A new code that I really appreciate because it helps our efforts tremendously is enrollment in a Hidalgo County school, right? So this is the same kind of a subcode of that first that tells us that these kids are now enrolled in an area school, right? So they're sitting in Mission, they're sitting in Edinburgh, they're sitting at Sherryland.
So of the 166, 142 are still in the county?
Actually, the 166 and the 142 are exclusive of one another. Those are 2 separate groups of kids.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we are down on the other Texas public schools. We are up on the Hidalgo County schools. And so that tells us that a huge number of our leavers are actually sitting in a place where we could leverage the transfer process to get them right back, right? And so we have our recapture strategy that is designed to do just that. Our homeschool numbers are down as well. We're trending lower on those. Outside of Texas, also a little lower than it was last year. Other really is a catch-all. These are very specific, very nuanced circumstances, everything from a temporary illness or I relocated because my dad had surgery and we're living in the city now, those kinds of things. Return to home country is up a little bit. Students who have graduated, right, these are happy leavers, we want those kids to graduate and move on, are up. Enrollment in a Texas private school is down by over half, and CPS and withdrawn by the district are also down. So those arrows just tell you where we were in comparison to last year in terms of what is up and what is down. So withdrawals by reason. So if we look at elementary, middle, and high school, if you click it one more time, excuse me. Sorry. Ooh, you're awesome, thank you. Got it. Olive for the save. So if you look at the elementary, middle, and high school breakdown for the data that we just saw, you'll see that another Texas public school and another school in Hidalgo County are really the highest numbers for both elementary and middle school. Oh my. So sorry. Okay. Are both the highest for both elementary and middle school. And in high school, we see those numbers relatively high, but what do we see? We see that homeschool number has increased significantly, or that is the highest actual reason. And so we're in the process of actually unmasking that information because there are some theories, some feedback that we've gotten from our campus leadership that tells us why that's happening. And so we will be able to provide a little bit more information about who those kids are, why homeschool is the choice, and what we can absolutely do to prevent that from being the trend in the future. So the net change, if you will click it one more time, if you look at our recruitment and recapture efforts and our withdrawals, that net change, if you click it one more time, the number should come up as 1,474. But as I did update the recruitment and the withdraw number, that net change also changes. So that number is actually on the positive 1,548. So we're up just a little bit from where we were at the time of this report. So, every presentation has a delicious slide. This is it right here. And so this is our enrollment day over day up to this point in the year for the last 3 years, right? So that green line tells us where we were in 2021. That yellow line tells us where we were last year at this time. And then the black line is the current year. So you can see, just as I mentioned before, that we had a much stronger start this year than we did last year, still under where we were 2 years ago, but definitely headed in the right direction. And then you see this sort of like leveling off, right? You see this like, we were doing great, like trending way above, way above, way above, and then we just kind of like met last year's line, and we've been kind of doing this little dance with last year's number for a little while now, and that can be very misleading, and it can also be very discouraging. Will you change the slide? So this is the buffet of deliciousness right here. This tells the whole story, right? So that blue line is exactly the line that you just saw on the previous slide. But now we see a couple of things. We see the numbers, right? And we see in some cases the number doesn't change at all, right? So from one day to the next, number doesn't move. From one day to the next, the number moves 1 or 2 up or down. But those green and red lines on the bottom really tells the true story, right? So every time you see a red line on there, it's because we lost kids. And that tells you how many kids we lost for that particular day. And yes, it is true that every single day, students withdraw from McAllen ISD. Every single day without fail. Those green lines, however, tell you the kids that have come in to the district, right? Every single day we enroll kids in the district. So it's sort of like your checkbook balance, right? So maybe your amount of money in the bank doesn't change, but that's because the amount of money you spent and the amount of money you brought in were exactly the same, right? Some days you spend more, some days you spend less, your balance goes up and down. Sort of the same story. So if you only look at enrollment numbers, it's going to tell you, yeah, okay, we see that we're generally increasing. We see that we're generally doing a little better than we were last week or this time last year. But those lines at the bottom really tell the real story. This is the work of the team, right? Because even on a day when the number didn't move at all, we lost kids and we brought in kids, right? It just so happened that the number that we lost and the number that we brought in balanced each other out, right? So I love this slide because sometimes you don't see what's happening behind the surface, you just see the end balance, right? You see the bottom line, but this really speaks to the work that is happening on a daily basis. So our strategic approach has been the 3 R's since the team started. Recruitment, which we feel like we have a solid approach to both active and passive recruitment, boots on the ground, community, direct, and targeted recruitment. We know that this has made an impact. We know that it has. We see that it has. We believe very strongly in that effort. Recapture efforts as well. That's the second R. The outreach team in collaboration, again, with student operations and campus staff have a solid approach to getting kids back who have left the district, right? This means that we are knocking on people's doors. This means that we are making phone calls. This means that we are sending emails. We are creating targeted pieces that speak to these parents and the reasons that we know that they leave us. The third R is retention. And this is the piece that we have failed at, right? And we failed at because we have not prioritized it until now. So this is the work of making sure that once kids get here, they aren't going anywhere, right? And so if you switch the slide one more time, we're looking at retention as part of a five-part strategy, right? The first thing and the last thing we're solid on. The first thing is culture. What we do for everyone, all the time, everywhere. These are the opportunities. This is our curriculum. These are our teachers. This is our clubs, our athletics, our fine arts, our CTE, all of the things that make McAllen ISD great, everything that makes up the McAllen ISD experience, right? So the things that we want to continue to evolve and create and innovate, because at the end of the day, like, this is why kids come here, right? This is why kids stay here, and that's what we do for everyone. The second piece is what we do to identify students who are at risk for leaving, right? Every teacher in the district can name at least one student that if they didn't show up tomorrow because they withdrew, it wouldn't be a huge surprise. These are kids that aren't engaged. These are kids that are having some kind of social difficulty. Maybe they're having problems at home. Maybe they just broke up with somebody. They're having academic. If they are presented with an alternative to coming to school where they currently are at, they will take it for some reason. How do we get really good at identifying who those kids are and connecting them to something? It was literally like doing backflips, not really, I don't know how to do those, but I was doing backflips in my heart when Dr. Gonzalez was going around to all of our high schools and connecting with kids that aren't engaged with anything, right? You're not in a sport, you're not in a club, you don't know a thing that there's not a thing that you're interested in, let's make the thing that you're interested in, right? Because that is part of number one that gets us to number two, right? And the more that we do that, the more that we engage and connect those kids, now we're identifying and we're doing something to mitigate that loss, which is number three. The fourth piece is what we do in the moment, right? When a parent rolls up to an office and says, I'm here to withdraw my child, what are we doing to pull out all of the stops to make sure that does not happen, right? Customer service at that point is not let's give the parent what they need immediately to get them, out of the office and done and happy. It's to prevent that, right? And so our team has launched a strategy to support campuses and having those conversations and helping parents close the gap on what they believe that they need and what they currently have access to, and making sure that they know that there really isn't anything that the district can't provide their child. And then what we do after a student has left, that's our recapture strategy, which has already been in place. So I have the unique privilege of standing up here and talking to you guys about all of this work and the strategy and the things that happen and the numbers, the results, all of that. But I've mentioned every time that I don't do this alone. I always give credit to our student operations team. I always give credit to our communications and marketing team. But I need to give credit to my student outreach team who are here with me today. You guys would stand up. The stars finally aligned and we got to have all of them in the room with me today. I'd like to introduce you to Ms. Susan Garcia. She is our transfer specialist, all things making sure that McAllen ISD kiddos from everywhere, right, wherever you live, find their home at McAllen ISD. Mary Tarbutton is our outreach specialist. She actually leads the recruitment team and is just an amazing asset to them and to the district. Elisa Rodriguez is our student recruiter. You won't find better customer service. She is amazing. We love her so much. Rudy Armendariz is one of our newer team members. Also an amazing boots on the ground recruiter. He has taken that work to a new level. Super excited. And Miss Ellie Bravo is ours for just a little while. She's our part-timer on her way to law school, but she has taken our online presence to a new level as well, and really engages with parents who choose to engage with us virtually. Right? So this is my team, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to address them.
What are we doing to retain Ellie? What are we doing to retain Ellie?
She's going to law school. We're letting her go to law school.
I'm kidding.
We're gonna.
There's online law school. You can stay. Just an option for you, Ellie. Congratulations. We wish you well.
She hasn't left yet, though. Trustee Suarez.
I think this is just more a comment, and it pertains to the second to the last slide, or the last slide. And that is that, Ms. Cabas, I commend you and your team because you recognize what our faults are and how to correct them. And I think that that's an issue that sometimes we tend to hear time and time again what we do good, and sometimes we neglect what we don't do good or what we need to improve on. And I think putting it out there so that everyone can understand what our faults are and that's how obtainable it is to solve the issue is what makes us different. One of the things that you commented on, I'm telling you on a personal level as a board member, one of the things that I have trouble sleeping with at night is when we lose a kid. And when I'm talking about losing a kid is the kid gets into trouble. Right away we want to kick them out of everything. That's the attitude of, oh, well, this person shouldn't be a part of us anymore. And I think just the opposite. I think that when a kid is engaged into something that he shouldn't have been engaged in, I think we have an obligation to try to keep him in or her in and not take him away from the one thing that keeps him in school right now. The extracurricular activities, things like that gives them a reason and a want and a sense of wanting to be part of a family. And I think that that's one thing as a school district, as a community, we need to come together with and understand the importance of this, because once we lose a kid and that kid doesn't come back, we failed, because the chances of that person being productive in society is slim to none. And I think that if we continue these efforts and finding out why we're losing these at-risk kids and not taking no for an answer, I think that makes the district so much better. And if that means that we fail in other departments, that's okay. Our obligation is to do what's right for kids. So I commend your staff, and hopefully all of us on the board and the community and people that are listening to this meeting understand the importance, how every kid matters. And when we lose a kid, that impacts not only us as a school district in terms of dollars, how it impacts us later as a community member. So thank you for all you do.
Any other comments, questions? Congratulations to you and your team. You guys have done excellent work, and it seems like I'm sending you a text just about every other day. So I appreciate all your hard work and efforts, because I haven't heard a negative thing back from those parents that we bring in. So thank you so much for all you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, this portion of the show, we're going to turn it over to the Iris Luna. Item 12B3, the report regarding taxes collected for October 2022. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. We have Mrs. Iris Luna, who is our Chief Financial Officer. She will give a report on the monthly taxes collected by the Hidalgo County Tax Office on behalf of McAllen ISD for October 2022. And this item is for information purposes only. Ms. Luna.
Yes, hi. Good evening, board members, Dr. Gonzalez. For the month of October, our current tax collections were at $789,629.56. Our delinquent tax collections were netted out to $19,462.65. The current taxes were at 0.81% collections versus last year at 1.19%. And our delinquent taxes were at 15.47% current year, whereas last year it was at 16.18%. And that concludes my report.
Any questions for Ms. Luna? None heard. Thank you, ma'am. Item 12B4, the report regarding the monthly financial and quarterly investment report for September 2022. Dr. Gonzalez.
Ms. Luna, the floor is yours.
Yes. So I have a report here for our September monthly financials. Sorry, excuse me. Okay. Our revenues for the month of September were at 41,364,612, and our expenditures were at 39,225,069 of expenditures, which nets our revenues over expenditures of 2,139,543.
Any questions for Ms. Luna?
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
There's a long dramatic pause.
Trying to change pages here. Okay. On the September investment report, quarterly report, our ending market value was at 165,615,960, with an average yield to maturity of 1.619%. Then we had our interest for the month of September coming in at $251,338.21. That was for the month of September. And that completes this report.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions for Ms. Luna? Item 12B5, the report regarding the monthly financial and investment report for October 2022. Ms. Luna, the floor is yours.
Yes, for the month of October, our revenues ended up at $62,956,482, and our expenditures at $62,105,816, giving us revenues over expenditures of $850,666. As far as our investments, we had for the month of October our ending market value at $166,033,407 with an average yield to maturity of 2.162%, which you can see now showing the September to October that we're slightly increasing on our interest rates. Our interest for the month of October was $305,174.71. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions for Ms. Luna? Great job. Thank you, ma'am. Let's move on to the consent agenda items. We have items 13A through 13F. Does anybody want something pulled?
Move to approve.
We have a motion to
Second.
approve. We have a second on the floor. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 5-0.
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to reorg the agenda.
Okay.
Item 14C1.
Bring forth item 14C1, the possible action on the guaranteed maximum price amendment for contract 2023-116 with Noble Texas Builders LLC through 2023-1023. Is there a second? Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a second by Trustee Peña. All in favor in the reorganize the agenda signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it. 4-1? 4-1. Thank you, sir. So we'll bring forth item 14C1, the possible action on the guaranteed maximum price, the GMP amendment for contract 2023-116 Noble Texas Builders LLC through 2023-1023. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Administration received the guaranteed maximum price for the construction of the UTRGV McAllen ISD Collegiate Academy. We have Ms. Alejandra Gonzalez, our Assistant Superintendent for District Operations, and Mr. Ruben Trevino, our Executive Director for Facilities Maintenance and Operation, who are available to answer any questions. And we also have some representatives from Noble here tonight as well. So at this point, I'll turn the floor over to Ms. Gonzalez.
Good evening, Board. Do you all have any questions regarding the guaranteed maximum price?
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
The amount that, the contribution that the district had talked to the board about, the administration talked to the board, has not changed, right?
Correct.
Okay.
12.5.
Mr. President, I move to approve this motion.
We have a motion by Trustee Vela. Is there a second? Second. We have a Trustee Aliceda that has seconded. Any comments, questions, concerns, or queries? None being heard. All in favor of approval signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 5-0. Going back to item 14A1, discussion and possible action on career technical education courses for the 2023-2024 school year. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The Career Technical Education Department is requesting approval of the following innovative courses for the 23-24 school year. We have Introduction to Aerospace and Aviation, Introduction to Unmanned Aerial Vehicle. We have Emergency Medical Technician Basics, and Entrepreneurship 2. Board approval of these innovative courses will meet the new TEA state accountability requirements. We do have Dr. Rosalba de Hoyos, our Assistant Superintendent for Instructional Services, along with Lily Sandoval Silva, our Director for Career Technical Education, who are available to answer any questions if needed. We are requesting action on this item.
Move to approve.
I have a motion by trustee Suarez. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second by trustee Debbie Crane Aliceta. Any comments,
come back.
questions? No comments or questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. She was in the doorway, so we're going to count that as a 5-0 vote. We need all we can get. 14A2, possible action on agreement number 2023-129, Pharmacy Technician Experiential Learning Program, Walgreens. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Administration utilizes the agreement with Walgreens to provide a pharmacy technician training for students. We have Dr. Rosalba de Hoyos, our Assistant Superintendent for Instructional Services, and Ms. Lily Sandoval Silva, who are available to answer any questions if needed. We are requesting action on this item.
Move to approve,
have a
taking
motion.
that we already accepted the donation for it.
And a second.
I have a second by trustee Sofia Merced Peña.
This is welcome.
This is
Oh,
something
it's from
totally different
Walgreens.
from that
Well, we want a
10,000.
donation from them too later. All right, here we go. We'll take it.
Trustee Vela.
Thank you, Mr. President. To whoever wants to answer why do we have an agreement with one particular retailer and not every other community pharmacy in McAllen?
We're open to partner up with any or all. These are the ones that have come in. And Ms. Lily, do you want to explain the process?
Good evening, board members, Dr. Gonzalez. Yes, we also have a partnership with CVS and a partnership with Science Pharmacy. And the reason for this is because then students had to get a perspective of what it is to work for a retail versus a private company. So it gives them a different kind of experience. So we're always welcome to bring in new partnerships. So if you have any other ideas, we welcome them because
Well,
it gives our students more opportunities.
I guess the question that should be asked is, how do they get the invitation and not everyone else? So how does like
process.
Apple
Explain the
Pharmacy,
process.
Really,
Lee
what has-
Pharmacy, how do these other pharmacies not get the invitation to participate?
Actually, what has happened in the past is the teachers bring it forth. And so we go with what the teachers, the relationships that the teachers have formed with the different companies, either because they were also pharmacy techs there or because those are the ones that they visited and the student and they were asked to join. However, like I said, if there's other ones, we are always welcome more opportunities for our
Go out and
students.
ask for everybody.
Hey,
just
hang on.
more opportunity.
Hang on. Let's have Dr. Gonzalez address this.
To those points, and I will say that we need to do a better job as a school district, making sure that every pharmacy across the community has the opportunity to help us in the area of pharmacy technicians. So we will get together and create a system where we can go knock on their door and just present them with the opportunity. They can say yes or no, but at least everybody in the community would have the opportunity. I think right now it depends on whether you have a teacher that has a relationship with your pharmacy or a student. We're kind of leaving it to chance, and we'll do a better job, sir.
Dr.
We'll set up a system,
Dr. Gonzalez, but
and Sophia.
I think better than just pharmacies, I think in anything that we do, anytime we have a partnership with a certain group, that invitation needs to be to everyone else. Not just in pharmacy, not just in culinary arts, but in everything. If there's an invitation for especially a franchise, the local, the people who are adamantly engaged in our community should have equal chance to participate in the schooling or any kind of our kids participating with local people as well. So it's not just a pharmacy issue. This is an issue, a practice across the board that whenever we're going to involve someone, we need to send that invitation out to everyone.
Yes, sir. Point well taken.
Trustee Vela, the floor is yours, sir.
You all may or may not know, but I've been a pharmacist for 40 years here.
What?
Surprises me sometimes. We've welcomed kids from the school district as long as I've had that store. In fact, 2 young men that are working for me now are registered pharmacists because they started as a pharmacy technician student in our high schools. One guy said that he's a pharmacist because of what he experienced in our community pharmacy. And I think every other independently owned community pharmacist in McAllen would welcome the opportunity to mentor these kids. There's a huge shortage of pharmacy
Yes.
technicians right now.
Yes.
And I'm not sure that they get the full experience at some of these other places. I read the agreement with this particular retailer. I think it's ridiculous. If you call me and say you have a student, they can come right over. I don't need to sign a 10-page document to say that. So we're willing to teach any kids that want to be pharmacy technicians. In our school district and neighboring school districts, we get a bunch of students from La Jolla. Problem with them is they have a travel issue. And the reason we get a lot of kids from La Jolla is because one of my pharmacy technicians was hired as the instructor to go teach in La Jolla. So they send us students. We'll take kids from any district, but I'd love to have some of ours.
And we'd
Okay.
love to be there, sir.
Thank you.
So this meeting will take place tomorrow. Is there Lee's Burgers involved, you know?
You tell me there's a kid coming over and they can start.
We'll broker the deal. Trustee Peña.
I think we keep saying, let's give the pharmacies, every pharmacy an opportunity to be part of the program. If we just invite them all, it's more opportunities, not just for the pharmacies, for our kids.
Yes.
Correct.
It's opportunities for our kids, and that's what it boils down to, across the board, like Trustee Suarez said. And I'll just bring back another program, the aviation program. Are we partnering with one person for that? There's 3 or 4 companies now that do, like drone training and all of that. More opportunities for our kids. So let's try and, as Trustee Suarez said, let's just invite the people who do that so that our kids have opportunities.
Thank you, Trustee Peña. Any other comments, questions? All right, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
The ayes carry it 4-1.
I said aye.
I know, I was just having to do my math.
In my head.
All right, item 14D1, approval of the McAllen Independent School District November budget amendment for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2022 and ending June 30th, 2023. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Administration is recommending the approval of November 22 budget amendments for the 2022-2023 fiscal year. We have Ms. Felix here. If you have any questions.
No, we have Ms. Luna here.
I'm sorry about that. We have Ms. Luna. I saw Adele in my mind. So we have.
Hello.
We have Ms. Luna here. What do you have for us, Ms. Luna? Anything?
Actually, in this budget amendment, there's not very many large items. There's just one with 55,000 that was just for the bilingual department for travel and some headsets.
All right, we have a motion by Trustee Aliceda. Is there a second? Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by Trustee Suarez. Any comments, questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 5-0. 14E, discussion and possible action of Board of Education meeting minutes for the special board meeting on November the 1st, special board meeting on November the 7th, special board meeting on the 14th, 16th, and 28th of November.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second? There is a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 5-0. Schedule of future meetings. Please take note that we do have our Safety and Security Committee meeting next Monday, 5:30. That is not on our schedule of future meetings. Then we'll come back after the first of the year with our first regular board meeting, January 9th at 5 p.m., followed by a regular board meeting, January 23rd at 5 p.m. There's no reason to go back into closed session. We are getting a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
By Trustee Suarez. Is there a second? Second by Trustee Aliceda. Happy holidays, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas. May the blessings of the season fall upon you and yours. Thank you, trustees, for all your service that we do on and off this dais. Can I get a motion to adjourn? I got that. Can I get a vote? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it 5-0. Merry Christmas.